Van Basten's ankle. Marco van Basten wins his third Ballon d'Or in 1992, standing on top of the football world at just 28 years old. He scored 277 goals in 373 games for Ajax and AC Milan, won 3 European Cups, and delivered that ridiculous volley in the Euro 1988 final that still breaks physics. The Dutch striker is technical perfection mixed with ice-cold finishing. Everything screams he'll dominate for another decade. Serie A defenders have other plans. Throughout his career, Van Basten gets absolutely battered by tackles from behind, the kind that twist ankles in ways they shouldn't twist. His right ankle becomes a graveyard of cartilage, surgery after surgery failing to fix the damage that's already too deep. By his first Milan season in 1987, he's already limited to just 11 games because of ankle problems. The 1993 Champions League final against Marseille seals his fate. Basile Boli plants a tackle from behind in the 86th minute that requires Van Basten's third ankle surgery. That's the last time he ever plays professionally. Van Basten spends 2 years trying to come back, undergoing experimental procedures, crawling from his bed to the bathroom because the pain is so severe he whispers to 120 just to reach the toilet without screaming. He retires in August 1995, age 28, never playing another match. For context, Ronaldo wins his 4th Ballon d'Or at 32, Messi his 6th at 32. Van Basten could have easily had 7 if defenders hadn't destroyed his ankle piece by piece. The tackles were so brutal that FIFA eventually banned tackles from behind in 1998, a rule change literally nicknamed the Van Basten Law. 3 Ballon d'Ors before 30, then nothing but what-ifs and a fused ankle that doctors had to bolt together just to stop the pain. One of the greatest strikers ever born, stolen by an era that allowed defenders to end careers without consequence. Adriano's demons. Adriano Leite Ribeiro is unstoppable in 2004, scoring 27 goals for Inter Milan as Serie A's most feared striker. He's got everything: power like a bull, a left foot that punches holes through walls, and the kind of presence that makes defenders pray he doesn't get the ball. At 22, he's the emperor, and people genuinely debate whether he's the next Ronaldo or something better. Then his phone rings during training and everything dies. The call comes from Brazil. His father Almir has passed away unexpectedly. Javier Zanetti watches Adriano throw his phone and scream in a way that gives him goosebumps years later. From that moment, football stops mattering because his father was the reason he played, the reason any of it made sense. He keeps scoring, pointing to the sky after every goal, but inside he's completely hollow. Depression sets in like fog that never lifts, and alcohol becomes his only escape. Inter covers for him initially, telling press he's got muscular injuries whenever he misses training. The reality is darker. Adriano shows up drunk in the morning, reeking of vodka and whiskey, unable to even lace his boots. Medical staff puts him to sleep in the infirmary just to keep him hidden. By 2006-07, he's barely scoring, partying in Rio favelas until sunrise, gaining weight, losing the explosive pace that made him terrifying. Inter sends him back to Brazil on unpaid leave in 2007, essentially giving up. The career limps through Flamengo and Corinthians, but Adriano never comes close to his peak. In 2011, his Achilles ruptures, career over at 29. He retires 2016, admitting he has a hole in my ankle and one in my soul. Today, he lives back in Rio's favelas, occasionally spotted drunk, a ghost of the emperor who once ruled San Siro. One phone call destroyed a man who could have been the greatest Brazilian striker since Ronaldo. Gaza's spiral. Paul Gascoigne is England's golden boy in 1990, the genius midfielder who cries at the World Cup semi-final and makes an entire nation fall in love with him. He's got vision that sees passes before they exist, dribbling that leaves defenders spinning, and the kind of raw talent that makes Alex Ferguson call him the best English player he's ever seen. Spurs pay a British record £2 million for him in 1988, and by 1991, he's leading them to the FA Cup final against Nottingham Forest. Then Gaza does what Gaza does. He completely loses his head. Just 15 minutes into the final, Gascoigne lunges into a reckless flying tackle on Gary Charles that's so wild it looks like he's trying to end someone's career. Instead, he destroys his own. The challenge ruptures his cruciate ligament, tears his knee apart, and leaves him screaming on the Wembley turf. Spurs win the cup, but Gaza spends the next year in rehab, missing his big money move to Lazio and never quite regaining the explosiveness that defined him. That injury is just the beginning of a spiral that never stops. Off the pitch, Gascoigne's demons multiply. alcoholism takes over. He's arrested multiple times for DUI, shows up drunk to training, and battles addiction like it's a full-time job he can't quit. There are allegations of domestic abuse against his ex-wife Cheryl, stints in psychiatric wards, and rehab centers that become revolving doors because he keeps relapsing. He plays for Rangers, Middlesbrough, and Everton, flashing brilliance between the chaos, but everyone knows he's wasting a gift that should have made him one of England's all-time greats. By 2025, Gazza's still fighting addiction at 58, looking unrecognizable from the kid who cried in Turin. Ferguson's words haunt English football: the best talent wasted, one reckless tackle, one bottle too many, and the most tragic genius England ever produced destroyed himself before our eyes. Ronaldinho's nightclubs. Ronaldinho wins the Champions League with Barcelona in 2006, lifting the trophy after years of magical football that redefined entertainment. He's a two-time FIFA World Player of the Year, Ballon d'Or winner, and the man who dragged Barcelona from depression into dominance. At 26, he should be entering his prime. Instead, he decides Barcelona's nightclubs are more interesting than training, and his career starts dying in real time. The decline is immediate. Ronaldinho parties until 5 a.m., showing up to training hungover or not at all. Barcelona's PR feeds the press gastroenteritis stories whenever he's absent, but everyone knows the truth. He's in a nightclub, dancing with a drink in hand. Videos surface of him partying through nights before match days, his famous smile now attached to someone who's stopped caring. His physical condition collapses, the six-pack turns soft, and the explosive dribbling disappears under the weight of late nights and champagne. Pep Guardiola takes over in 2008 and immediately decides Ronaldinho must go. It's not just the partying, he's become a toxic influence on young Messi, Barcelona's future. Guardiola sells him to Milan for €21 million, a bargain for a Ballon d'Or winner from 3 years prior. At Milan, the partying continues. One night before the Inter derby, Milan fans literally drag him out of a disco and force him home because they're sick of watching wasted talent stumble around Serie A. Ronaldinho bounces through Brazil after that. Flamengo, Atlético Mineiro, retiring 2018 at 37 after years of irrelevance. The smile never left, but the genius did, drowned in champagne and late nights. Football's greatest entertainer became a cautionary tale about loving the party more than the game, proof that even magic dies when you stop showing up for it. Owen's hamstring. Michael Owen is England's golden boy in 1998, the teenage striker who burns past Argentina's defense at the World Cup and announces himself as the future. At Liverpool, he's unstoppable. Lightning pace, instinctive finishing, and a hunger that makes him score 18 Premier League goals at just 18 years old. By 1999, age 19, he's already won a Golden Boot and looks destined to break every English scoring record in existence. Then, at Elland Road against Leeds on April 12th, he feels something snap in the back of his leg, and his entire career changes forever. The hamstring tears badly, keeping him out 5 months, but the real damage is what Liverpool doesn't do next. Their physio leaves the club that summer and isn't replaced until the following season, meaning Owen's rehabilitation is essentially non-existent during the most critical recovery period. The hamstring never properly heals, leaving him with 3 tendons in one leg and only 2 in the other, a permanent imbalance that forces his body to overcompensate for years. He wins the Ballon d'Or in 2001, somehow maintaining elite form through sheer positioning and finishing instinct, but internally, he's terrified. Owen later admits he became petrified of sprinting at full speed, knowing another tear was always one burst away. The fear kills him mentally. The explosive pace that defined him disappears, replaced by a cautious, calculated version who can't trust his own body. He moves to Real Madrid, then Newcastle, then Manchester United, each stop marked by more injuries and longer absences. By the time he reaches Stoke in 2012, he's a shell. 8 substitute appearances, 1 goal, and the admission that haunts English football. I hated playing football. I couldn't wait to retire. He retires at 33 in 2013, a Ballon d'Or winner who spent his final 7 years as a broken footballer, destroyed by 1 hamstring injury and Liverpool's negligence during a summer when proper rehab could have saved everything. Hazard's nightmare. Eden Hazard is Premier League royalty in 2019, fresh off dragging Chelsea to a Europa League trophy with 2 goals in the final against Arsenal. He's scored 110 goals in 352 Chelsea appearances across 7 seasons, won 2 Premier League titles, and established himself as one of the world's most electric attackers. Real Madrid, desperate to replace Cristiano Ronaldo's goals and star power, pay Chelsea €100 million plus €45 million in add-ons. €145 million total for a 28-year-old entering his prime. It becomes the worst transfer in Real Madrid's history, a €145 million bonfire of a career that dies before it ever really starts. Hazard arrives at Madrid overweight, clearly not in shape to handle the intensity of La Liga or the pressure of the Bernabeu. Within months, the injuries start, ankle problems, thigh strains, muscle tears that keep him out for weeks at a time. He plays 76 games across 4 seasons, a pathetic return for someone who cost more than most countries' GDP. Ankle surgeries pile up, his explosiveness vanishes, and he spends more time in the treatment room than on the training pitch. The dribbling that terrorized Premier League defenders? Gone. The acceleration that made him unplayable? Disappeared under scar tissue and weight he can't shed. By 2022, Hazard is a meme, not a Galactico. 7 goals in 4 years, €160 million for essentially nothing. Fans whistle him at the Bernabeu, journalists call him the biggest flop in club history, and even Hazard admits he's lost the passion for football. He retires in October 2023, aged 32, citing a loss of motivation and a body that won't cooperate anymore. Chelsea's legend, destroyed by Madrid's curse, poor preparation, and a brutal cycle of injuries that turned one of the Premier League's best into a cautionary tale about how quickly it can all fall apart when you arrive unprepared for greatness's biggest stage. Wilshere's glass. Jack Wilshere bosses Barcelona's midfield at Camp Nou in February 2011, aged just 19, putting in a performance that makes Xavi and Iniesta look mortal. Arsenal lose 2-1, but Wilshere's display is so complete, so mature, so ridiculously good that Arsene Wenger calls him the future of English football. He's got everything: press-resistant dribbling, inch-perfect passing, the aggression of a midfield pitbull combined with the technical elegance of a Spanish maestro. England caps arrive. PFA Young Player of the Year nominations pile up, and Arsenal fans start dreaming of their own homegrown Xavi. Then, in a 2011 pre-season friendly, his ankle fractures and his body never recovers. The stress fracture keeps him out 17 months, requiring surgery that's supposed to fix everything, but instead opens the door to a nightmare cycle of breakdowns. Ankles, knees, legs, everything starts snapping. Between 2011 and 2015, Wilshere plays just 27 Premier League games across 4 seasons, spending more time in the treatment room than on the pitch. Every comeback ends the same way: a few matches, a flash of brilliance, then another injury that sidelines him for months. His body is made of glass, and Arsenal can do nothing but watch their wonder kid waste away. By 2018, Arsenal lets him leave for West Ham, where the injury curse continues. 2 seasons, 19 appearances, then nothing. Bournemouth signs him in 2020, 5 games. He tries Denmark's AGF in 2022, plays 8 matches, then retires in July at just 30 years old. Total career appearances, 197. Should have been 600 minimum, possibly 700 if his ankle had held. Today, Wilshere coaches Arsenal's under-18s, passing on knowledge from a career that died before it lived. The kid who dominated Barcelona at 19 never got to fulfill the prophecy, his talent buried under scar tissue and surgeries that couldn't save him from his own fragile bones. Torres' touch. Fernando Torres is lethal at Liverpool, scoring 81 goals in 142 games and forming one of the Premier League's most devastating striker partnerships with Steven Gerrard. He's rapid, clinical, and genuinely terrifying for defenders who know one mistake means he's gone and the ball's in the net. In January 2011, Chelsea pay Liverpool £50 million, a British transfer record, to bring him to Stamford Bridge, convinced they're signing the striker who will fire them to Premier League and Champions League glory. Instead, they buy a player whose finishing ability has mysteriously vanished overnight, and the decline is painful to watch in real time. Torres' scoring touch disappears completely. Open nets missed, one-on-one straight at keepers, shots that somehow find the corner flag instead of the goal. He scores 1 goal in his first 24 games for Chelsea, a stat so catastrophic it becomes a meme. Confidence drains from him like air from a punctured tire. Defenders who once feared him now press aggressively, knowing he's more likely to scuff the ball than score. Torres is finished. Chants echo around stadiums, rival fans mock him relentlessly, and even Chelsea supporters groan when he gets chances because everyone knows what's coming: nothing. Chelsea win the Champions League in 2012, but Torres barely contributes. His role reduced to running the channels and hoping someone else scores. He wins trophies, FA Cup, Europa League, but he's a passenger, not the match winner Chelsea paid £50 million for. The stats are brutal. 45 goals in 172 Chelsea appearances across 3.5 seasons. Torres leaves for Milan in 2014, then Atletico Madrid, but the magic never returns. He finishes his career bouncing through Japan's J-League with Seigen Tosu, a former European Golden Boot winner, reduced to irrelevance. The striker who terrorized Premier League defenses became football's most expensive cautionary tale about confidence. Once it's gone, sometimes it never comes back, no matter how talented you were. Reus's curse. Marco Reus is Borussia Dortmund's beating heart in 2014, the electric attacking midfielder who's just scored 16 Bundesliga goals and looks primed to light up the World Cup in Brazil. Germany's squad is stacked: Özil, Müller, Kroos, Götze, but Reus is supposed to be the creative spark who elevates them from great to unstoppable. Then, days before the tournament kicks off, he tears his ankle ligaments in a friendly against Armenia. Germany fly to Brazil without him, win the entire World Cup, and Reus watches from home, knowing he missed his shot at immortality because his body quit at the worst possible moment. That's just the beginning of the curse. Euro 2016? Injured. 2018 World Cup? Injured. Euro 2020? Injured. By the time he finally makes a major tournament at the 2022 World Cup, he's 33 and the shadow of his peak. Reus misses 5 major international tournaments across his career because injuries always strike right before the big stage. Hamstrings snap, ankles twist, knees swell up. His body is a ticking time bomb that detonates whenever glory gets close. At Dortmund, Reus is a one-club legend, scoring 170 goals in 429 appearances across 12 seasons. But loyalty brings no silverware. 0 Bundesliga titles despite coming agonizingly close multiple times, watching Bayern Munich celebrate year after year. He loses the 2013 Champions League final to Bayern at Wembley before even joining Dortmund. He loses the 2024 Champions League final to Real Madrid in his final season, watching from the bench as his career ends trophyless. Reus retires in 2024, aged 35, joining LA Galaxy for one final season before hanging up his boots. He's loyal, brilliant, and cursed. Football's unluckiest star, a player who could have been Germany's hero and Dortmund's savior if his body had just cooperated. Instead, he's remembered as the man who was always one injury away from greatness and never quite made it. Kaká's knees. Kaká is untouchable in 2007, winning the Ballon d'Or and Champions League with AC Milan while playing football so elegant it looks choreographed. He glides past defenders with long strides that eat up ground. His acceleration is devastating, and his left foot delivers passes and goals with surgical precision. At 27, he's entering his absolute prime. Real Madrid recognize this and pay Milan €65 million in 2009, the world's second most expensive transfer ever at the time, to bring him to the Bernabeu as their marquee Galactico. It becomes one of football's saddest declines, a knee injury destroying one of the sport's most beautiful talents almost immediately. The meniscus problems start within months of arriving in Madrid. Surgery follows, then another, then another. His knees are essentially finished, the cartilage worn down. The explosiveness that defined him vanished overnight. The player who used to ghost past opponents with effortless acceleration now struggles to keep up with La Liga's pace. 4 years at Madrid produced flashes of the old Kaká, but mostly just frustration, injuries, benchings, and the sad reality that his body quit years before his mind did. Madrid sells him back to Milan in 2013 for free, essentially admitting the €65 million was wasted. Milan fans hope for a renaissance, but Kaká's legs are gone. He manages one decent season before declining further. By 2014, he's in MLS with Orlando City and New York City FC. A former Ballon d'Or winner reduced to bench appearances in a retirement league. He retires in 2017, aged 35, his final years a shadow of the player who won everything at Milan. From 2007 Ballon d'Or winner to 2014 MLS substitute in 7 brutal years. That's Kaká's decline, proof that knee injuries don't care how talented you are. One surgery, then another, and football's most elegant Brazilian was gone, replaced by someone who looked like Kaká, but moved like his legs were filled with concrete.